I will start out this video by talking about the exact opposite concept of the thesis for this video. But then we will relate it all back in the end. Some people do a job and they earn, let's say $20 per hour for that job. Some people do the exact same job, often under even easier circumstances, and they will get $200 per hour for the same job. What is the essence that differentiates the person who gets $20 per hour from the person who gets $200 per hour? I spent a long time wrestling with that question. I spent a good deal of my career attempting to figure it out. My very first job was for $6 an hour. From there, I hovered around the $10 to $12 an hour range for a long time. Then a sudden jump to $18 an hour, then $50 an hour, then to $100. I did not gain an exponential amount of wisdom during that growth trajectory period. I figured out only one part of the puzzle. The reason why one person makes $20 an hour and another person makes $200 an hour for the same job is completely made up. It is illusory. One person charges that much, while the other person charges what they charge. And they both find people to pay the rates they charge, or they don't. And the person lowers their rates, changes professions, or starves to death, while those consequences are real. The system itself is all made up and the points don't matter. This same logic is what allowed for things like software as a service to become so embedded into the everyday lexicon. The term did not even exist 20 years ago. Today, you cannot get away from it. Every person I know in the marketing profession cannot even comprehend or envision a world absent of this concept. Slowly, over time, the narrative around these things changed, as did the pricing structure for things. Why pay $50 for something when you could simply pay what you would for a cup of coffee for it for a few months instead? All of a sudden, you're paying $50 per month for what you were paying $50 for and wondering how you got here. The key with these changes is that they occur gradually, over time. This is the conventional wisdom when it comes to artificial intelligence development as well. That we will see these gradual and slow changes, as these things are slowly eroded away into something new. That is not at all the development curve that artificial intelligence is following, though. As a warrant for this, let's talk about exactly what sparked me to make this particular video on this particular subject. When I first saw more generalized artificial intelligence and its capabilities at the time, my first thought was that software as a service is dead. I began preaching that since day one. Why? I knew that today would eventually come as a result of the technology. I had no idea that today would arrive as fast as it has. Even I underestimated the speed of change in this particular instance. I have seen the first company advertising $0 software development. It is a completely new and novel concept. I think it will take time to catch on for this reason. It sounds kind of like a gimmick at first. League of Legends seemed like a complete gimmick when it first came out as well. Now, the free-to-play genre is the biggest genre within gaming. My prediction is that artificial intelligence development scales via this same exact model. People simply have not figured it out yet. I can literally produce software for free. Look at my GitHub repository. I sometimes crank out multiple new editions daily and crank out on average a new repo every day. These are fully functional apps. Any one of them would be a SaaS startup 5 years ago. The cost to develop these things and the barriers to do so have fallen so far that it is no longer a barrier to simply know how to do it. From there, it is only a matter of time if you know simple economics before those costs get very close to zero. That day has already arrived, about 10 to 15 years ahead of schedule. Ingenuity is and will be the driving currency in this new economy when the dust settles. I think that it is going to be a bumpy ride until the dust settles. If AI is accelerating everything else though, hopefully it can accelerate that transition too. So maybe the bumpy ride also will not be as long as anyone actually anticipates it to be. When the dust actually settles though, the true driver of the economy will be innovation. Innovation will be the only bastion of humanity that remains commodifiable. Whatever software you can think of or dream of costs $0 to build. That is already the world we live in. It is only that a select few currently live in it. The rest of the world is in a weird limbo as it catches up to this new reality. Like everything else though related to AI, that just seems to be happening at an accelerated pace compared to everything historical before it. One last note before I end this video. Analytics has shown me that people who tune into this channel are overall primarily interested in the topics that I speak on, the metaphysical aspects of and related to artificial intelligence development. Back in my day, we simply called this philosophy. If I am being wholly honest, it is the aspect of artificial intelligence development that intrigues me the most. It is a contentious issue as of late, and people tend to dismiss it as metaphysical debate. So I have been shying away from discussing the topics publicly more and more. I cannot deny it is the subject people are most interested in discussing and consuming content related to though, as long as I am releasing content into the ether. I can make it related to the topic my analytics show you most want me to focus on. Architectures that compete with transformers. I think the overall pool of individuals who can speak on this topic in any capacity remains extremely limited, even in the present. While I am not a particular expert on the topic, it is something I keep a close eye on. I like to hedge my bets overall. I continue to hedge a small portion of my bets against transformers. Just in case, I can continue to make videos and content on this topic as well. Both of these things are simply to say overall that I do pay attention to the types of content people ask me to produce for this channel. And I do try and incorporate people's feedback to make the channel and the content better. Thank you to all. Until next time.